So sorry, everyone. I pushed the finish button instead of flipping my camera down to my table. So hold on a second, and I'm going to flip, hopefully find my flipping button. There it is. It's in a different spot, and it makes me crazy. All right, now I got it. Hold on. So sorry. You probably thought, well, what the heck? That was quick. Where'd she go? Sorry. Just need to make some adjustments here. All right, we're going to get this thing rocking and rolling again. So I'm going to find you on my tablet, seeing how I just had that major oopsie daisy. Hold on here. Let me refresh. So those of you that may be popping on, we're here for a little bit. I accidentally shut you down, so I'm back on. If you want to listen to my little introduction, you can watch the first video. Otherwise, just hang in with me on this one, and we're going to start making some cards for my beautiful butterflies card kit. And look, my pin, I took it off my lanyard. This one was really heavy, so I took it off my lanyard, but I thought I needed to put it on here just in case you can't remember what I'm up to. All right. So card kit number 1, for those of you that have the kits. I believe I put a little sticky label or a little pop dotty thing on your envelope telling you which kits were which number. So if you have number 1, it should be with the Blackberry Bliss card base. So this is what the card's going to look like. Now, I don't think I put a note in your envelopes, but your envelopes are going to contain all your little pieces. So sometimes there might be some small things. There's going to be some gems, a little bit of ribbon and stuff. So just be careful when you're taking stuff out so that you have everything that you're going to need. So you should have a white piece that's going to go, it's going to be a non-embossed piece that's going to go on the inside of your card. And then we have a white embossed piece with the beautiful butterflies. I focused on the beautiful butterflies suite with the hybrid embossing folder. So you're going to have this. This is 4 by 5 1/4, standard pretty much for the front. Then I also embossed and cut out the butterfly. Now this paper was a celebration paper, so that's now gone, but it was perfect for the project that we've got going on. So, and as a part of, this was all as a result of participating during celebration, so we've got a few celebration products that we're going to use. This is a piece of the Fresh Freesia seam binding. And I'm not sure if everybody got Fresh Freesia. I was getting really low on it, and I know I pulled out some other ribbon, and I'm hoping all of your kits that I mailed out had the Fresh Freesia. I did since then get another roll of it, so the extra kits that I have, if anybody wants them, I will be sure that that gets put in there. You're going to have 2 little die cut circles. And we already looked at the little embellishment. Oh, you got shimmer? Okay, if you would like Fresh Freesia, I am glad to send that to you with your dots, Linda. I knew I was getting really low on it, and I couldn't remember if I ended up having to put some of the shimmer in there. Okay, so this card is very simple. Okay. Do you want just some Fresh Freesia ribbon, or do you want the whole set of 4 card kits, Linda? If you just clarify for me so I make sure I understand. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is just adhere our white embossed piece to the front of your card base. Very simple, very basic. Set of 4. Okay, I will get one out to you, and I'll arrange payment with you. All right, so let's adhere this to the front. Let me just make a note of that, Linda, before I forget, because, and 4 card kit. All right, I'll put it with your dots, so hopefully I don't forget. All right, so we've got our front on here. Now the butterfly, you can choose to put it up on dimensionals, or you can just adhere it flat. Now, for those of you that don't have the kits in front of you, when you emboss with that embossing folder, you get that big butterfly right here. And I like to lay this one right over top of it. You could off-center it, you could put it up here, you could do whatever you want. I like to put it right over this embossed piece right here. So I need to get myself some dimensionals. I forgot to do that beforehand. Okay, there we go. Break some of these out of here. My other pack, I packed them up to take with me. And we'll just put this right on the front. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on my inside piece and my white circle. And I'm using the stamps from, I should have pulled this out, from the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set. This was this was in the mini catalog, and I believe it still is, but it was also offered as a celebration freebie in the month of February. So I am focusing primarily on this, but once in a while I'm using a few other maybe sentiments. So I'm going to use the hello, and I'm going to use in case you need me, I'm here. And Blackberry Bliss. Right on the circle. And then on the inside, in case you need me, I'm here. And of course, obviously, if you don't have this suite of products, you can use any sentiments that suit you. So if you don't have sentiments right handy, or you want to think about, oh, what do I want to put on there? You know, you can just leave them blank for now. Leave your spots blank. Fill them in later. That's going to go in there. And then I just layered these up. So I tucked the Blackberry Bliss, and then I put the white over top of it. And I popped this up on dimensional. So I'm just going to put a little of my Tombow glue on the one side and just sort of offset that with the Blackberry Bliss. And then a couple dimensionals. And then I sort of tucked that up behind that little wing right there. There's that. Now with your piece of ribbon, whether you got the fresh freesia or you got the shimmer ribbon, you can make your bow. I'm going to bring out the old comb. Does anyone have this, either the stamp set or the entire bundle? I just absolutely love it. I would really like it if it was something that carried over after the annual catalog comes out, but I doubt it. But you never know. I'll be keeping it for a while. It's just gorgeous. And then I saw somebody else do this. Oh, goody, Debbie, you got the bundle. I saw somebody else put their bow right in the center of their butterfly, and I just thought that was really pretty. So I decided to do that with this one. So for that, I'm just going to take a glue dot and pop that right in the center. And maybe fold it in half so it's not too big, so it doesn't pop out from under your ribbon. And then put that on there. Super simple. Now let's put our embellishments on here. What do I do with my take your pick tool? Let's see, put that there. And you can put these however you like. There we go. So card number 1, the Blackberry Bliss. Oh, good, Pat, you've got the stamp set. Yeah, this is just a beautiful, Beautiful bundle. Okay, so I'll leave that there a second while I grab my other kit. Now, on the inside, oh, I stamped the butterfly in there, so let's do that on this. I was going to say for our envelope, I didn't send designer series paper to do your envelopes, but what you could do is you could do some stamping on your envelope. I'm going to stamp this little butterfly right over here on the front right corner so that it just carries over to my card. So if you like to do your envelopes, you can stamp something on there, or maybe you have this paper from Celebration. You could use a piece of that on your envelope. But there's card number 1. I'm going to just set that right up there, put this back, put that over there. I'm going to wipe my stamps off because I can't remember which ones I'm using again, so I better get the Blackberry Bliss off of them, or there could be an inky mishap. Okay, card number 2. This one is a fun fold. So again, oh, thank you. I did them myself. Isn't that cool? Because there's a white party. So I did my nails. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so this is a fun fold. You may have looked at your card kit and thought, now what the heck is she doing with that? What are we going to be doing here? So with this, again, you've got that embossed piece on the front, just a piece of ribbon on here and your little sentiment. But then on the inside, you're going to make this little pop-up with a butterfly on it. So I thought that was really cute. And I saw this, I believe it was Julie Davison, I think was the person whose design I saw. And it's really not hard at all. I loved it, and I thought, well, that's perfect for the little butterfly. So when you open up your envelope, if you haven't already done that, there is going to be a little strip of clear window sheet in there. So be sure you're looking for that. So I'm going to go through and tell you everything that you should have. I'm going to pop the envelope over there. So you're going to have your designer series paper. This is the Boca designer series paper 6x6, and you may have a different color. All right, so mine is balmy blue, but I used some of the different colors that are in the pack. So you may have a different color. And then you're going to have a coordinating circle from the designer series paper. Okay, Linda, thank you. I will let you know. Thank you so much. You're going to have a die cut butterfly from your designer series paper. You will have a white die cut of the butterfly. Your piece of window sheet. A little white circle for stamping. A piece of coordinating cardstock, depending on your designer series paper. This is going to go on the inside of your card. A piece of white ribbon. And a couple little pearl embellishments. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is, I think we need to, oops, where's my mechanism? Oh, there it is. Whew! And you need your... And you have your white piece, the mechanism. The most important thing for this fun fold is this cool little mechanism. So this was just a piece of basic white cardstock with a couple score lines in it. And then when it's folded at the, so there's a score line right here, another score, and another score. So that middle score, when it's folded up, then I just took a circle punch and I cut out this half a circle. So what you're going to do, let's put the other pieces off to the side. Get your circle piece, and I'm going to put my blue piece down because that paper pumpkin stuff might be a little distracting. So I've got this folded so that I've got my circle, right? And I need to find my piece of window sheet, which was just, there it is. So what you want to do is take your piece of window sheet and put that up in this circle so that when you pinch the sides, your piece of window sheet is going across here. So now you're going to have the smaller section that it's about an inch, inch and a half section right here is going to go in the top of your card. Then your fold, this is going down into the base of your card. All right, so this is going to go up at the top. So this is how you fold it, like that, and you put that little piece of window sheet. Now that you know where it goes, you can choose, do you want to put a little bit of your double-sided tape adhesive or a couple glue dots, but you want to put something in here, just a little bit on each side, because that's going to hold your window sheet in place. Boy, I had my curtain open for a little bit of light, and man, it got dark all of a sudden. Woo. Now I can just lay this right on that adhesive, right at that score line, and then fold that together. And now I've got my piece of adhesive in there. So if you didn't get that, just put a little comment. I'm trying to go slower. So my piece of window sheet is right here in that circle. So if you open up your card, we're not going to adhere it yet. If you want it, okay, if you want to stamp a sentiment in here, you'll want to do that before we adhere this down, just because if you make a boo-boo, you might not be happy with yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment inside, and that said, "So happy to have you in my life." And this comes, or, oh, this one says, "I couldn't have picked a better friend." Is that what it says? Oh, nope. I think it was the other sentiment. Let me, I'm going to pull that out of here. I just pulled the wrong one from the Lifelong Friends. So happy to have you in my life. Yep. Okay. And I'm going to pull out Balmy Blue. But for your cards, because everybody may have that, you know, a different color, you could use the color that coordinates with your paper, or just use black. You can even just use gray. If you have gray granite or something, I really like the gray granite. And I'm just going to stamp that right in the center. So happy to have you in my life. And while I have out my ink, I'm going to go ahead and stamp on my circle. And I used You Brighten My Day, and this came from Spring Corners. There's that. So that's all the stamping, just the two little sentiments, unless you want to add something else. So you stamp your little circle, and you stamp inside there if you want to. Okay. So now you've got your mechanism made, got your little window piece in here. We're going to attach our butterflies. So on the back of your little die cut white one, you want to just use a little bit of glue, or you can use a couple glue dots right in the center if you want to. Because it's not necessary. You don't have to glue this whole thing down. This isn't really a moving part or something that's really going to get a lot of wear and tear. So we've got our butterfly put together on our designer series paper, and then you're just going to attach that to your window sheet, like the bottom half, like right along the bottom part of the wings. Attach that to your window sheet. And again, you can use a glue dot, you could use your adhesive. I probably wouldn't recommend using your liquid glue, just because I think that might be a little oozy, but a glue dot works beautifully. So there's that. Everybody doing okay? All right. So now to attach this piece, this white panel piece, the mechanism, into your card, lay your card out flat. So you've got your score line right here. And then you've got, when you're folded up, you've got this little section. You want to line that up on your score line. So just get a feel for it before you put your adhesive down. Now for this, you might want to use your liquid multi-purpose glue just because it gives you a little leeway for moving stuff around. But if not, just use your regular adhesive. Just take your time when you're setting it down and make sure you've got it lined up. I've got my adhesive on there. All right, and just going to line that up on that score line, press that down. Beautiful. Now, because I've got this white panel and my card base is white. You don't necessarily have to cover this up, but I don't know. I don't really like seeing it. So I just thought it might be nice to add the colored cardstock, or you could use, if you have more of the Bokeh Designer Series paper, you could put a piece of the Bokeh there if you want to. I'm just going to add the cardstock. All a matter of preference. Pop that on there. Okay. So then this is going to be a little tight when you first fold it down. Just use your bone folder. Give it a nice score. Flatten it out a little bit. But it is going to be a little thicker. And see, when you open it up, your little butterfly will pop up, and just kind of a nice little surprise when they open up their card. All right. Now we can add the... I just realized I did something wrong. So, if you want to add your ribbon beforehand to go all the way around and tuck it under your cardstock on the inside, you can do that. I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to add my ribbon to the Designer Series paper and tuck it around the back side of my Designer Series paper. No big deal. No big deal at all. All right, just need to find my adhesive. And I'll just put a little bit right there and a little bit right there to hold it in place. Wrap that around. Yeah, I like the blue too, Lisa. I love all the colors in this Bokeh paper, but the balmy blue is really pretty. Okay, so we've got our ribbon across the bottom. And then I can adhere this to the card front. And again, you could use your favorite adhesive, whatever makes you happy. I will say to you, when you are embossing with a 3D folder like this, 3D being where it really, really gives you the deep impressions for your embossing, when you're doing it with Designer Series paper, it should give you a really nice image. But sometimes, because it is 3D, once in a while I've had it, just tiny little bits, it'll crack my paper. This time it didn't do any of that. But you can also spritz, just a teeny tiny spritz of water when you're embossing will give you an even deeper image. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now we'll just attach our little sentiment circle to the Designer Series paper piece and pop that up with a couple dimensionals. And add our pearls, and we'll be all set with this one. So I hope you like that fun fold. I just thought it was something different, and it wasn't super difficult, but it just, like I said, gives you a little wow a little wow surprise when they open up their card. Thinking, oh, isn't that pretty on the outside? Wow, look at that butterfly. So there's card number 2 with the Bokeh Designer Series paper. And we could take our envelope and let's put a butterfly right on the back. Stamp that right there. And then we've got our coordinating envelope. All right, I'm going to let you finish up gather up the next card. I'm going to take a sip. I brought some coffee back with me. I don't know. I just was having a craving for coffee right after dinner. And I don't want to drink too much of it because I don't want it interfering with my good night's sleep. Okay. Card number 3. This one I brought in some designer series paper that I absolutely love. But for whatever reason, I can't remember the name. Everyday Happiness. So I've brought this paper out a couple different times. In fact, I used it last week on a card. Love, love, love this paper with Lost Lagoon, Wild Wheat, and Wild Wheat is leaving us. So I want to use it as much as I can before it's gone because it is one of my favorite of the in colors that's leaving in 2025. So on this, we've just got our little butterfly, a couple little gems, a little sprig on here, and then on the inside, a little bit of stamping. So this one's pretty easy. Just some strips of designer series paper, which are, let me measure them because I don't remember, about 3/4 of an inch by 3.5 inches. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of designer series paper. And then there's a piece of basic white cardstock for the stamping. When you pull out your kit, you should have a white piece for your inside, your 4 strips of designer series paper, 2 butterflies, a little sprig from Lost Lagoon, and I think that came from, I think the little sprig was from a set that retired. It was a celebration set, but you could use any little sprig. A piece of basic white to stamp. Oh, I've got 2 things of butterflies in here. Ooh, a bonus. A piece of Lost Lagoon, which is 3.5 by 5, I think. 3.5 by, oh, nope. 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. And that goes on the front of the card. So now what you may want to do, you're going to take your Lost Lagoon piece, and we need to add our strips of paper. So I'm going to start by adding that white one right to the center, and before I adhere it, I'm going to stamp on it so I don't mess anything up. Then check out your strips of paper. Maybe you like the backside with the flowers. Maybe you want to mix them up. Do flowers in stripe. However you want to do it. I think I'm going to do like kind of like what I did there. Flowers, the little vine strip, and then flower, flower. So depending on how your paper turned out when it was cut, you can decide how you want to lay it out. But I like to lay it out, get an idea of my spacing. If you are very particular and you like it to be exact, by all means, feel free to measure. I don't measure. I eyeball it. And I hope for the best. And I think that looks pretty darn good. I got lucky. So I'm going to get a block so I can stamp my happy birthday. And that is coming from the beautiful butterflies right here. Happy birthday. And then on the inside, time to celebrate. My stamps need a little attention. They need to be reorganized and put back in there properly. All right. So we've got happy birthday. Looks straight. I'm going to use Wild Wheat. And stamp that right, oops, excuse me. You want to stamp off to the left. If you're going to do it like what I did it, you want to stamp off to the left a little bit because I put the butterfly and the sprig over here to the right. So depending on how you want it to look. And then on the inside, I'm going to stamp happy to celebrate you, or time to celebrate. I don't know. I make stuff up as I go along, apparently, with what these sentiments say. I don't know where I came up with happy to celebrate you, but I am happy to celebrate you. And I'm just going to stamp that right in the center. Nope, I am not taking ink pads. Too messy, too risky. Too risky. I would have an explosion, I just know it. And she said we didn't need to that one class. It was optional, I think. Okay, and so that's going to go there. So now I want to put my white one down first so I get that. Hopefully I keep my spacing and everything of my pieces here. That right there. That looks like it might be a little bit crooked, but you know what? That's okay. Maybe it's not once I get going. It might be just the angle I'm looking at it. And this one. I hope you guys are liking these cards. For those of you that got the kits, or maybe you're interested in purchasing a set of kits. As I said in the beginning video, the first one that I cut off, I have 3 sets of these kits left. They are $20 for the 4 kits. If I ship them to you, they are $15 if you do a porch pickup, if you come to my house and pick them up from me. So I've already sold 1 set, so I have 2 sets of kits left, if anybody is interested. Thank you, girls. I'm glad you liked them. I just thought they were pretty and fun and easy to make. All right, so you have options with these butterflies. I liked layering them. So what I did over here was I put my wild wheat right on top of my other one. And I know that when I kind of curl this up, by the time it's in an envelope, it's going to get squished. But so you could offset it. You could put 2 different of the butterflies on here. You can do this however you want. But like I said, I like them layered. If you are layering them, my suggestion is that you only put a glue dot in the center so that you can fold up those wings. Now, to do that, I like to use my bone folder and very gently, don't go too hard, you're going to rip your poor little butterfly wings off. And then what are we going to have then? Wingless butterfly. And we don't want that. So you can just kind of curl them up a little bit. And, you know, after it's mailed to somebody, maybe they'll figure that out. You could offset them just a tiny bit to show more of that pretty peacock under there. So that's what I'm going to do. Or you can reverse them. Put the wild wheat underneath and the pretty peacock on top. It's all up to your creative interpretation and expression. All right, so I offset them this time a little bit. That's kind of pretty, so I can see more of the pretty peacock. I like that. Now the little sprig, you can use some little dots of your glue, or you could try to use a little bit of a glue dot and roll them up. I prefer to use a little of the wet glue, Tombow multi-purpose glue. Just put my little sprig on there, and then I'm going to glue this down. Again, just putting glue right along the center. And right there. Whoop, stuck to my finger. There we go. Now, I don't see my little gem that I put in the center there, but I think I sent you 3 butterflies. So you can use one of the smallest butterflies to put in the center there, or if you want to put a different little gem there, you could do that. I'm just going to put this little butterfly right in there, and then these 2 I'll put up here, and one right down here. I've got my insert. Get underneath my card base. Put this right on the front of my card. And then this goes on the inside. For my envelope, I think this one, take it a little bit further here. I'm going to use that half a butterfly, and I'm going to get out the little dots and do something with those little dots. You know, one thing I never did play with, and I need to do that, is creating these wings. I saw a lot of really, really creative ideas with these little wing pieces, so I need to do that. There's the little dots. And I'll just put those on after I do my butterfly. So I think I'm going to do the butterfly in Wild Wheat. Hey, Robin. Welcome. We'll see you tomorrow, I think. Maybe in the evening. We'll catch up. I'm going to do that. And then, yes, I'll have to do something with the wings, Julie. Like I said, I've seen some people do some really, really neat things with them. But I just haven't done it yet, and I need to. Yes, we will see you soon, Robin. Safe travels. Oh, still packing. I'm all packed. I'm ready to rock and roll, I think. Okay, so I've got my envelope and I've got my card. Isn't that pretty? So there's number 3. And last but not least is our beautiful yellow butterfly. Oh, I love this one. This is a lot of steps, so I'm going to talk you through that in case you haven't used this yet. Let me find my embossing folder. Whoops, wrong folder. I found the packet, but that was the wrong folder inside of it. Let's see here. Where is that little devil? Where are you, butterflies? Huh. Where are you hiding? I'm searching. Hold on. Where'd they go? Huh. Okay, butterfly folder. Hiding on me. Hold on. It's over here somewhere. Here it is. Got tucked behind one of the big folders. Okay. So for the entire suite, you get this hybrid embossing folder along with this set of dies. So you cannot buy the embossing folder and the dies separately. They come together as a little bundle of their own, the hybrid embossing folder and the dies. So there's multiple of these butterflies, and to get this butterfly, this one, I put my piece of paper in there to emboss it, but at the same time I put in a die, and it will kind of click into place. It kind of fits around the raised edge. Put your paper in, run it through the embossing folder so it embosses and cuts out that butterfly at the same time. That's how I got this Blackberry Bliss butterfly. Now, to get this image, so on the yellow, this is Daffodil Delight, and some of you may have Crushed Curry or Daffodil Delight. I was running low on Daffodil Delight, and then I got some from Lisa, but I already had my kits done. So Lisa, I have your pack of Daffodil Delight to pay you back tomorrow. It's in your little bag of goodies for you. So anyway, to do this, I took my cardstock, put it in the embossing folder with this die. So I embossed and cut out the yellow butterfly. So if you can see that, that butterfly is cut out of there. Then the next step, I used this outline butterfly die, and I cut with a piece of white cardstock in this die to create the white outline image. And then underneath, I just have a piece of designer series paper tucked up under there so you can see the paper through there. And then I die cut the body of the butterfly. So there's a lot of different ways to create with these dies and the embossing folder. Just really fun, really beautiful images that you can get. And then if you just wanted to, you could just die cut this butterfly outline. Of course, you can die cut this. We saw that. And then there's a couple of the smaller little butterflies we use, the little outline butterfly, the half a butterfly. And then this one will do, with this edge up here, you can do a flap, a card the shape of the butterfly, and keep your little top embossed area. So you would put this on the top of your card. You got to line it up just right. I need to play with it more. I've done a couple just playing. And then it'll open up the shape of the butterfly. Lots of different things you can do with this one. So maybe after I'm back from on stage, I can get creative and do a few more things with this set to show you. So that's the dies in the embossing folder, and then of course the stamp set. All right, so for this one, we kind of went through all of the process, but let's make sure you've got everything in your envelope. You have a white card base with the fold up here at the top, the 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. Then we've got a piece of designer series paper, and they may vary a little bit. Can't remember if they were all the same. Or some of it might be the Celebration, and then this came from the, oh my gosh, why can't I keep the names of these papers in my head? Floral Delight paper. So depending on which piece you got, and your piece of either Daffodil Delight or Crushed Curry to go on top. And then this little butterfly will go there, and then the body of the butterfly, and your little sentiment piece. Very simple. Lots of die cutting and embossing for you, but such a beautiful card. So I think the easiest thing to do is take your embossed piece. Be sure you've got the raised, hi Dawn, be sure you've got your raised butterflies facing up to you. And then you want to put your piece of paper behind there, and you can adhere that to the back. Just check when you put that piece of paper back there, kind of fuss with it a little bit to make sure you've got all the butterfly area with designer series paper. You don't want to leave any, you don't want it off kilter a little bit and get something like that. Okay, so just be sure. So what I'm going to do is use my liquid gold. Oh my gosh. Well, it is kind of liquid gold. Liquid glue. I'm looking at the gold color of the paper, I guess. And then add my designer series paper, then kind of flip it over. See, I had a little area there that wasn't covered, and just make sure I've got it all. And then I can go ahead and adhere this right to the front of my card because I'm not doing anything else that requires to be off from the front of the card. There's no reason you can't attach it, I guess. Stumbling over my words. Okay. I'm going to let you catch up for a second. Take a quick sip. Dawn, I don't know if you were on when I was talking about I have still 2 more sets of the kits, 2 more of the 4 kits to go. If you're interested, $15 for porch pickup for the 4 kits. If that's something you're interested in. I know you like kits now and again. All right. Now I'm going to glue this down. You certainly could use the adhesive sheets. That would be a grand idea. But if you're very careful with your liquid adhesive, don't get crazy. You could have it in your little fine tip pen. You could use a little sponge dauber and just sponge it on here. Don't get too much because you don't want it oozing out these little veins. You want one kit, Dawn, or you want both of them? I have 2 kits left. 2 sets left. Okay. Thank you. I'll set one aside for you. I've got your other package too of some things I set aside for you. Okay, and then we're just going to lay that down inside here. And then our little body, our little butterfly body with his little antenna. Okay, Mary, I'm all sold out. I will get one to you, ladies. Mary, I will mail yours after I get back from on stage. As well as Linda, if she's still listening or catching replay, I'll mail your stuff after I get back. I won't have time to get it done tomorrow before I go. So let me write those down, please. 1 second. Let me get a sticky note. Mary. And I will message you to make payment arrangements. Thank you, ladies. Okay, that's done. Okay, I will do that. It's $20, but I'll message you on how you want to pay, PayPal or Venmo, whatever. All right, so we've got our little butterfly body on there, and then we can stamp our sentiment. Now, this little label that I sent to you is from another set of dies, and I knew I'd forget the name of it. Let me find it. Oh my goodness. From the Round We Go, and it's a big long die, so I just die cut partial, and I wanted that little, I love that little rough edge kind of look, so that came from Round We Go. So in saying that, when you decide what you want to stamp on here, because I like that rough edge and maybe you don't, when you stamp on it, just kind of measure out so that you're sure you kind of keep that edge, and you can always cut off this left-hand side. Does that make sense? So I'm going to use the So Thankful that's in the Beautiful Butterflies. And then I'm going to use For You, if I can find them. So Thankful, For You. I got a lot of mess to clean up tonight before I shut down shop. Alrighty. So Thankful. And I'm going to do it with the Pecan Pie. That's the color I used for my butterfly body. Stamp that. And then on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and stamp For You. So Thankful, For You. Oh, you're fast, Mary. Whoa, thank you. Awesome. Yeah, Lisa, I'm glad I can do that too. Well, not close the door, but it's on the other end of the house where, you know, you don't have to, nobody really has to look in here. So that's a good thing. And then I'm going to use Daffodil Delight and stamp a little butterfly on here. I just love that butterfly. And then these 3 little dots, I'm going to stamp those, and I'm going to stamp them off. I want them a little bit lighter. And a couple of those around there, I guess. Okay. Then I'll put my So Thankful. I'm going to raise that up on some dimensionals. Yes, I understand that for sure, Mary. Thank you. All right, I'm going to trim just a little bit of this end off because I know I don't need all of that. Pop that on there. And then I'm going to add these. I sent you 3 little gems. So you can decide how you want to put those on here. And there we go. Now, of course, we need to do that envelope again. And I like that he's the big wide butterfly, so I think I'm going to do that on the envelope as well. I'm going to use crushed curry this time because my card front is crushed curry. Well, I got kind of an ombre look. My crushed curry obviously needs re-inking, but I kind of like it. It's a little darker here and lighter out. Not a very good ink job, but it desperately needs ink. And I just ordered it and it just came in yesterday, and I have not taken the time to refill. So there's card number 4. All right, these are your 4 card kits. I really, really appreciate that you supported me during celebration. And those of you who purchased my extra kits tonight, thank you so much. I hope you will enjoy them. And you can always come back and watch the video to do the assembly. But for the most part, I think they're pretty self-explanatory. But you're welcome, obviously, to come back and watch the video. So thank you so much, you guys, just for being a part of all of my things with Stampin' Up! And being so supportive of me, whether it's watching my videos, purchasing from me, purchasing classes from me now and again. I don't do a lot of those, but that is something I really want to get into, is more of these online kits to go kind of thing. So I'm hoping to make that work for me in the near future. So anyway, I appreciate all your support. Going to On Stage, yes, I'm very giddy. I'm very excited, but I'm also very thankful for each and every one of you, because without you, number one, I wouldn't be at the title that I'm at for my team and my customers, as well as just going and enjoying all of the things that happen at On Stage. They spoil us greatly. We are going to have a wonderful time, the camaraderie and meeting up with people we've met before and making new friends, and just all the things, all the things. My heart is full, and it will be even more full in the next few days. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you, and I will be back with you next week, and I'm sure I'll be posting some pictures and little things in the next several days. So take care, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk with you next week. Bye-bye.